Even after having built multiple successful businesses, served thousands of clients, being here, showing up with you, I feel the same whenever someone asks me, how is my business doing? Even though externally it looks very successful, the voice in my head keeps telling me it's not doing good enough. Hello friend, welcome back to the Awakened Entrepreneur Show. I am Juan Galan, your host, and I am so happy to be back for another solo episode. This one is going to be a really good one because we're going to be talking about something that I honestly don't know anyone who has not experienced it in their lives. And that is imposter syndrome. And why am I talking about imposter syndrome? Really funny story. One of my best friends, who's also an entrepreneur, she started her business pretty recently, kept telling me, like, every time that someone asks me how my business is doing, the little voice in my head keeps telling me it's not doing good enough. And I have experienced this so many times, even after having built multiple successful businesses, served thousands of clients, being here, showing up with you. I feel the same whenever someone asks me, how is my business doing? Even though externally it looks very successful, the voice in my head keeps telling me it's not doing good enough. And here's the thing, that little voice in your head that keeps telling you that you're not good enough, that you don't know what you're doing, that you're a fraud, and anytime people will realize that, that voice is not true. It's ego. It's a protective mechanism born from fear. Because here's what I've learned. Imposter syndrome is not a sign that you're failing. It is a sign that you are expanding. Because the moment that you stretch out from what's familiar, your nervous system goes, wait, this isn't safe. What if I mess up? What if I get rejected? And boom, the inner critic appears. I have faced this so many times in my journey. I still face it, as I just mentioned before. But I remember that even during my most successful year, which I would say was my first year, surprisingly, when I was facing all of this growth and success, and people were coming to me because they wanted to work with me, and brands were approaching me, and everything looked so perfect on paper, I was freaking out because I had no clue what I was doing. Well, actually, I did know what I was doing. I thought that I had no clue what I was doing. I thought that I was just lucky and that at any moment, everyone would see that I was a fraud and that all that success that I had achieved was going to be taken away. And in fact, it did get taken away, not out of me being a fraud, but out of many other things, like not having done the proper inner work, like losing my vision of success, like not having a spiritual practice. But this is something I talk about in my other episodes. So if you haven't listened to those, go listen to them after you finish this one, because there's a lot of gems that are going to help you build a better business and live a better life. But coming back to imposter syndrome, I want to challenge you today. What if instead of seeing imposter syndrome as a flaw, you started seeing it as a mirror? Now, what do I mean by that? Hear me out. A mirror reflects. And this mirror, this imposter syndrome, is reflecting your old beliefs that are still trying to hold on. Because at its root, that's what imposter syndrome is, a set of limiting beliefs. And I'm going to be doing another episode just on limiting beliefs, but I wanted to address this here today. These limiting beliefs that tell you that I'm not good enough, I'm not qualified, I'll be exposed. These aren't true. Remember, anything that feels wrong in your body, anything that gives you fear, pain, anxiety is not true because it doesn't come from God. And again, if you don't believe in God, just remember that it's not part of your divine identity. Our divine identity comes from love, and anything that doesn't stem from love is not true. Those are things that we make up in our mind or that our nervous system makes up to keep us safe. And guess what? They probably started in childhood. And I want to tell you a quick story of how my limiting beliefs and how my imposter syndrome started. When I was about 5 years old, that was my first year in school. We're doing this gift for our parents, and we were building like this house with magnets that you could put on the fridge, and we were using the sticks from the popsicles to build the house. And it was a very simple project. We just had to stick them together with glue and build the frame. It was actually a frame that you would hang on the fridge. I struggled. Like, I couldn't finish it. The glue was all over, the sticks wouldn't stick together, and I was feeling very frustrated. And I did something that I'm not proud of, and it's really crazy that I still remember this because I was like 5 years old. But the person that was next to me, the little boy that was next to me, left for a moment, and I switched our projects and I took his project. Now, what that situation created in me was a feeling of not being capable, of not being worthy, of doing a project and giving a gift to my parents, and a lot of shame. And that was such a horrible thing to do, I know, but it came from this need of being loved and accepted by my parents. Now, why am I telling you this story? Because those same thoughts that I had as a little boy are the thoughts that I have in my business when I am launching a new project, when I am creating something new, when I am creating content. That voice in my head is still there. And on top of that, adding all the years of bullying, being told that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't fit in, made me start building and creating this image, this version of me that would look good enough, that would sound smart enough, be successful enough. But underneath it all was that scared little boy who felt ashamed, who felt like a failure for not finishing that project for his parents, and who still wasn't sure he belonged. And that's exactly what imposter syndrome does. It pulls us back into that younger version of ourselves. It tells us to play small, to hide, and to stay safe. And now I want to share something that changed everything for me. I stopped trying to fight that voice, and instead I started witnessing it, observing it without any emotion and with complete detachment, because that voice is still going to show up. But now I ask, what is this voice trying to protect me from? And more often than not, it's fear of rejection, fear of failure, and fear of not being loved. So I bring compassion to it. And I talked about this in one of my previous episodes, how important it is to have compassion for yourself. And when it seems hard to have compassion for ourselves, because sometimes it does, it's always good to think about our inner child, our little version of us, and have compassion for them. Because again, who cannot have compassion for a little child that made a mistake, right? So I bring compassion to it, and I remember my truth. The truth that God told me. I am chosen, I am qualified, I am growing, I am loved, and I don't need to be perfect to be worthy. And as I said, imposter syndrome will probably never disappear completely, because once you unlock a next level of success or a next stage or step in your life, new voices will appear, again, trying to protect you from the unknown. But now, imposter syndrome doesn't have to run the show. So friend, if you're feeling it today, if you're doubting your worth, your voice, your vision, I want to remind you that you are not an imposter. You are a pioneer. And the fact that you care this much means that you are exactly where you're meant to be. Let your next level scare you. Let your next level stretch you, but don't let it stop you. You've got this. Now, as always, there is a freebie that you can find on the show notes or the description of the video on YouTube. It's called the Imposter Identity Cleanse, and it's going to help you identify old beliefs that you're still carrying and help you rewire them to match your current calling. Friend, thank you so much. I love you. If you think this is worth a 5-star review, please review it. Help me spread this message. If you enjoyed the show on YouTube, give the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week.